So what's going on, Raider Nation? I would like to welcome everyone to the Raider Critique. This is your Week 15 game preview between the Oakland Raiders at the Cincinnati Bungholes. And that's happening this Sunday at 3:05 p.m., I believe, Central Standard Time. Now, I'm dropping this video a little bit early, and the reason why I'm doing so, well, with the way the Raider news has always been, especially this week, there'll probably be something else that I'm going to have to report on tomorrow and then not get this pregame out of the way. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way before our team does something else crazy. So what I would like to do on this episode, we're going to go to a few different sites for a few matchup stats, and then I'm going to go ahead and give my prediction for the final of the game come Sunday. So let's go ahead and hit the intro, and let's go ahead and get this episode started. And I do appreciate everybody for showing up and taking a look at the channel and coming to listen to me run my mouth about this football team. So without further ado, let's get this episode started. Now, if it's one thing I hate about NFL.com, they don't really give any preview. They'll show you a few stats, as long as you go into the right section, and they'll tell you a little bit about everyone, but they'll only tell you about the team leaders. Now, as you can see, Andy Dalton is their team leading passer here at 61.9%. with 2,566 yards with 21 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. But what they don't tell you is that even though he is here as their top-rated passer, we done flopped over to ESPN because at least they tell us a little bit more than what NFL does. For some reason, NFL doesn't like to do anything like that and let you know. But instead of going to the full injury report here, actually, let me just pop back out. We'll go over here because this is what I like about Pro Football Reference. They give you everything you need to know right here on the front page. All you have to do is scroll down. So if you can see the yellow right here, Andy Dalton is on injured reserve due to torn ligaments in his right thumb. So that basically means he's done tore ligaments in his throwing hand, which means he's not going to be available. Their tight end, Tyler Eifert, he's recovering from surgery to repair a broken right ankle while on the injured reserve list. Another big name, A.J. Green. He's on injured reserve, sustained torn ligament in his toe on his left foot and has been placed on injured reserve. Okay. Then we get down here into the questionables. You have Josh Malone, who's a wide receiver. Cordy Glenn, a tackle. Really, out of everybody on here, besides Dre Kirkpatrick, Bontosber Sifit. And I know I said that fucking wrong, but yeah. Vontage perfect. This dude has always been a nightmare. And it's going to be nice, hopefully, not to see him in the game. But from the look of this, he might be. It says Perfect was held out of previous game due to a concussion and is undetermined if he will be cleared in time for Sunday's clash against the Raiders. Now, if he doesn't make it, then we've got this game in the bag. All right. Now, I haven't even checked out who they've got starting at quarterback. It's some guy named Driscoll. As a matter of fact, why don't we just go ahead and go on over here. They got their current injuries right there, but let's look at their passing. Jeff Driscoll, he's played 6 games for him already. He's started twice. He has 11 attempts for 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's ran the ball for 27 yards. Or no, my fault. He's thrown the ball for 27 yards. That was his longest pass. And his yards per average per throw is 5.8 yards. Now, of course, his stats are not going to be absolutely stellar and perfect. He's only started 2 games for the Bengals. Obviously, in place of injured Andy Dalton. He's already got 1 fumble in those 2 games. Now let's look at their wide receivers to see how they've actually turned out. John Ross is an issue, but nowhere near as bad as Tyler Boyd, who has 990 yards receiving on 72 receptions. Let's look at their tight end because we always have issues with tight ends. And I do believe, let's see, Tyler Effort's the only tight end that I see. Oh, CJ Uzomah. He has started 12 games. He's got 357 yards. So even though he's not a real big name, we're still going to have to figure out a way to isolate him as well. When it comes down to it, the biggest threat that we have to worry about on this Bengals team is Joe Mixon. Right, Joe Mixon has 180 attempts for 866 yards, 6 touchdowns. His longest run is 43 yards. His average yards a game are 78.7. And they like to throw him the ball too. He has 38 receptions for 283 yards. 1 touchdown, his longest catch is 21. Catch percentage is a 79.2%. His yards from scrimmage is 1,149. All right? Dude has been absolutely perfect ball handling skill right here. He has no fumbles. So when you look at that, and you look at what we're facing, because, I mean, literally they don't have any big names on this offense. Okay? And then we go back to what I was looking at before, which I'll pop on back over here. When it comes to the matchup, right? This is actually really good for matchups right here. ESPN does a real good job. Now, we were averaging 18.8 yards or 18.8 points a game. And I'm real sorry, as you can tell, if you look at the timestamp down below, it's really late. And I'm having a hard time keeping focused. But we have 18.8 yards or 18.8 points per game. They're averaging 23.6. Now, I doubt it with that backup quarterback. All right, we're allowing 29.8. They're allowing 30.5. All right. Total yards, we're averaging 366.2. They're averaging 345. We're averaging 264 with our starting quarterback in passing yards. They're averaging 247. Rushing yards is 101.5. Theirs is 98.8. Now, here's where it gets sticky. We've allowed almost 400 yards, 397.7 yards allowed. They've allowed 431.9. Okay? We allow less pass yards than they do. and we allow, we're virtually identical on rush yards allowed. So when you really look at this, man, okay, Cincinnati, for some reason, they've got a 68% chance to win on ESPN.com. These guys are coming in with a backup quarterback. You know, it's just because everybody wants to hate on the Raiders. That's basically the bottom line. That's what I see. Because, man, with them coming in with a backup quarterback, and they don't have a huge, big-name wide receiver to speak of. They're coming off of I believe they're on a losing streak. And they're coming up against a red-hot Raiders team that is finally starting to get it. Now, old Bucky Brooks over here on NFL.com voted against us. But the other guy, I believe his name is DJ, well, he believes we're going to win. And you know what, man? I side with him. I think we're going to take this game 24-17. Now, I know it's probably not good for the draft, but then again, I'm a firm believer into believing that we already have a top 5 pick. I believe we should get as many wins as possible, especially to build momentum going into next season, especially with the way everything has been when it comes to we're probably not going back to Oakland, which is actually probably about a 95 to 98% percentile of a sure notive on that one, man. That's exactly how that's going to be. Now, I'm fumbling up all my words, and I'm really doing a terrible job in front of this microphone right now, so please bear with me. But I do believe that we need to have a good showing. We need to show the city of Oakland that it was a huge mistake for waiting so long to give us a deal on a stadium. And I believe to build momentum for this football team moving forward, we need to start getting wins. And I believe that we have an opportunity to win out and be 6-10. And I wouldn't mind that. I'm sure a lot of you might, but I would not mind that at all. Because remember, normally the first overall pick, and I've always said this, about 75 to 80% of the time, is a bust. And that's just the way it is. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for stopping back by and checking out the channel. I do appreciate every single one of you that have come and supported the channel, that have come in and commented down below. I have been told that nobody's been able to reach me via Twitter because they weren't able to find my Twitter handle at the bottom of the page here. So I've actually made some adjustments, and hopefully everybody can see it now, regardless on what platform you are on. Now, I've noticed that I've had issues with the backdrops and things like that on certain platforms like Xbox and PlayStation 4. So hopefully, with the way I have commanded everything and shortened everything up, everything is coming in exactly fine. And I want to thank the people down in the comments for letting me know that it wasn't coming up, because if you guys didn't, I would have had no idea that it wasn't coming up. But feel free to tweet me, on Twitter, man, at InGun421. It's listed right down here below, and hopefully all y'all can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and end this episode right here, and I will be back with another video for the post-game review on Monday. So until then, Raider Nation for life. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, because we're doing at least 2 videos a week until the end of the season.